Do you think Nvidia will introduce another hardware-reliant software feature with the 5000 series? And if so, what is your guess as to what it would be, Alex?
Oh my gosh.
I don't think they will.
I mean, I don't.
I think there'll be features. I think there'll be strong features. I'm not sure they'll be reliant on RTX 5000 because it doesn't feel as though we've had time to live with the 40 series cards yet. And if you go back, there wasn't so much with Ampere. Ampere was a performance play and a value play. And it was basically establishing everything that they'd achieved with Turing. And I think they need to do that this time around. So I'm not sure there's going to be a push for features that are entirely reliant on 50 series silicon, but I do think there will be features that will probably run great, better than 40 series possibly.
Yeah, I think for the market's sake, it would be great if it was Ampere-like in the fact that it was reducing prices in a certain category, or made just people happy to buy something instead of maybe begrudgingly buying something. I think that'd be good for them and for consumers, of course, too. The areas where I think semi-realistically where I think NVIDIA engineers would not be just die shrinking and making things faster would be within RT. And I think there could be new accelerations there that occur that are just baked into the hardware that don't require explicit API support to take advantage of. I also do technically think in the background, Microsoft is going to be updating DXR at some point in the future. And there could be forward-looking features regarding that, but they'll take a long time to trickle down, just like DXR took a while to get into a number of games. So I think that's something that could potentially occur. One thing that we've talked about before on here on DF Direct is that we do imagine in the future that NVIDIA would potentially allow more interpolated frames to be added in. That could be something that is limited to future hardware just because the processing cost makes it possible, because there's a processing time there that affects input latency and as well as the frame rate.
That would be killer for some of those like 480 hertz monitors and the really high refresh rate monitors,
or the 1,000 hertz
monitor,
right? So so I think there's potential there, but there's also things like behind the scenes that we don't have a good knowledge of at all. Like NVIDIA surprised, I think, a lot of people with some of the features they've done in the past. So it's because they have their own vision internally that they then, after years of research, bring to the market. And they probably have teams like that out there. Like, did anyone expect RTX Remix? It's not limited to a certain set of hardware necessarily.
So cool, though. I love that stuff.
But, I think we could see more of that stuff that is NVIDIA specific, or maybe not, but it's just like we're pushing to the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what they've come up with, but I do think that, introducing new features every generation, it's a tough call, and you don't want to annoy people about the brand, right? That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting question because we kind of predicted that frame generation was coming for two reasons. First of all, I think we just floated the concept you floated the concept on Twitter, and Brian Catanzaro you pointed out a paper for NVIDIA, and Brian Catanzaro just sort of said, yes, that research was really good, wasn't it? And then we met up with Tom Peterson, TAP at Intel. And it's just like, we sort of raised the possibility of frame generation. He just like went straight for it and just basically essentially confirmed that they're at least strongly thinking about it. But it was, I think, nicely surprising that it all happened immediately after that. But this time, I don't think we can come up with any sort of new concepts that has been hinted at, signposted.
There's one recently, so a year ago, they put out this paper about like neural compression of textures,
right?
Going beyond the standard formats. It had a processing cost, of course, and it was like originally demoed maybe on a 3090 or 4090. I really can't remember what the initial demoing was on, but the concept was really interesting to increase the quality of textures without hitting on memory and bandwidth. And then they most recently had a paper that came out about how do you actually filter those textures, because hardware texture filtering won't work on it after this point in time. Right. So they came up with a new method of filtering that is actually better than standard filtering in a number of ways. And it's very interesting, and it leans on DLSS to work to a certain degree. Maybe they do something with textures. Maybe another thing. Maybe they'll actually have hardware decompression instead of relying on G-deflate direct storage decompression.
Right. But these are all features that are nice to have, but these are features that a current GPU could do. I would say it's not, you're not going to, when 40 series came along, it was frame generation, and this is really an interesting feature, and it's going to sell cards, right? I don't think we're looking at features quite like that as transformative as that they can actually sell.
Right, yeah, and also the question of integration into games. FrameGen was easily integratable in comparison to other technologies like path tracing. So we saw that uptick, and it made it like a real compelling buying thing. It also annoyed people that had 3090s or 3080s, and they're like, why can't I use FrameGen? FSR3 comes along. So yeah, good points.
Okay.
I think the big feature though they don't have that I'm really excited about, I want 5-slot GPU. 5 slots.
It's funny because me and Alex were talking about the return of 1-slot GPUs.
Nope.
There's no reason why a 4060 couldn't be a 1-slot product.
None.
But no, you want to go bigger. You want to go wider.
We go wide, boy. They could make it short, but 5 slots. Like a chunky board. Multi-layer PCB.
Have you seen that PCB of the 4090? It's already half-sized anyway.
Yeah,
it's just increase the width.
Yeah,
exactly. Wow, that would be awesome.
Just go all the way.
You could like put a fish tank in your PC.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. 5-slot, baby.